in front of us is the Harbor Freight's 1x30 that I've taken and done a bunch of stuff to. I'm going to start with I'm just going to ramble here for a minute and tell you everything that I've done. When I first got it, basically it looked like this Delta over here. I just picked this up. This is another one I got from the guy that was leaving the island, and it's pretty much, I think it's a heavier duty motor. It's an older model. It's a Delta, but it's the same basic unit and it's stock. It comes in, this is the RPMs. I think it's 1700 RPMs, and it spins right along. And it's funny because the Harbor Freight's sanders all seem to make a certain noise, and I haven't done anything to this one. They sound pretty rough when you first start them out. What I found is that the wheels weren't true. All the wheels weren't trued up at all. And so the first thing I did when I had some time, another rainy day project, was I took the entire Harbor Freights, I took it all the way apart, every component. This was with the original motor. And I do want, this is the key to the whole thing, is this new motor that's in it. But the easy things you can do to it are to true up these wheels. And I think I actually flipped it on its side, did something you probably shouldn't do. I put the grinder next to it and I spun the wheel, and I got this wheel spinning. And then I have some turning tools, some small lathe tools, and I actually just lathed this wheel until it was true, or more true. And another thing, and then I swapped them out. So I cleaned all the bearings, I checked them. They're actually pretty solid. You get a little bit of the rattle is coming from these things and from this pivot joint back here. I do like to have my pivot joint loose. And another thing I did, it wasn't the best, but it was sticking in the paint. So I scraped and removed, cleaned this whole area up. I made it so and increased the spring so it actually moves freely and easily. I have seen one of them where this little angle part right here needs to be ground out further. It didn't go in far enough to let the belt get on. Loosen this nut up so that and get it to where it can be, and then you can just pop things on and off. This wheel here is the original wheel that was on when I got the machine, and I trued this up by putting a lathe, sorry my words here, a woodworking tool right there, chisel I guess, and so I put the tool right there, and you can see it's very smooth now. So by truing up the wheels, cleaning the bearings, tightening everything up, loosening this up, it made a huge difference. I mean, as far as how smooth it ran, it still sounded and ran at this speed, which was really fast. And all that means is you either got to dip your blades. I even thought about putting a water drip system on it, but they're messy, and I was afraid it would mess with the motor and the electronics. You just have to use a really light touch. You know, these things, the tool does the work, and I really like this form factor. The more I've used it, I think some of the other the mini belt systems, so it's the Ken, there's one there's a couple different ones, and they're smaller belts. I just think they're too small for me. The 2x72 is way too big. This is the perfect size for me to sit right here, and I can get in really close. I've got some special glasses, and you can just touch the blade and do what you need to do. You really get some fine control. And now with this system, I can actually control the speed, the variable speed. So I'll throw a belt on and just show you what the... So that's at the slow speed. And it's a big difference. I mean, compare it to, you know, the beast over here. And so this is now a dedicated buffing machine, and I still want to slow it down. I can put my dedicated felt belts on it, and it keeps it so there's no metal filings or anything like that coming over here. So it's nice. It's a dedicated honing and buffing machine for putting the final edge. But it's still too fast. So when I use it, I just barely whisper touch with the edge. With this one, I usually increase the speed with the coarser belts because there's no heat buildup on the coarser belts. And then as I go to the finer and finer, the 800, the 1000, the 1200, the 3000 grit. And the structured abrasive also lets the heat come out a little bit more too. So, but I usually just go slow on the final. I just run it at its slowest speed and it works perfect. Another way I use this thing is I flip it over like this. I think I'm gonna put a hose clamp on here, a big hose clamp, and get a little wood block to keep it. It does want to tip over a little bit, especially with this motor's a little more weight out on the end. It flips over. But that's it. I mean, that's the basic idea. Also, I'm running, I got these out of a computer, a hard drive. And if you take the hard drive apart, you'll find these super magnets. And these are those rare earth, super magnets. And so, that might not have been the smartest idea. So I keep one right down here at the bottom, and it really attracts a lot of the metal filings, so you don't get nearly as much dust buildup coming on the back. And so that will help to reduce the dust and they get around the shop and everything. So variable speed, Harbor Freight's 1x30, tuned. Everything's been tuned and cleaned and loosened and adjusted. And that seems like it's a really functional little machine, and I love it. I'll try and put a link down below in the description for where I got this. Basically, it's a wood lathe motor for hobbyists, and I think it was $120. So if you count $40 or $50 for the machine itself, another $120 for the investment in the variable speed motor, for $170, you actually have a really good little system for sharpening. Some people, and you don't need to go that far. I mean, I did a lot of my sharpening early on with this. You just have to really watch the heat build up. It is possible. With this new system, it's just a dream. You can just sit and touch and go as you want. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.